Welcome to the first ever Elevated podcast. Elevation through conversation is what we're after. Today, I'm with Colton. We're sipping on bourbon. We're smoking cigars. We're talking about growth, resilience, the challenges of finding oneself, and much more. Enjoy. Get back at it. All right, cheers, everybody.
Yappity yap there.
So, we're sitting on a tree. You take these fucking time. Damn. You're so fucking high up.
Recording now.
Yeah, it's recording now.
Amazing.
Ooh. Did you introduce what we're drinking here?
Oh, I did not. This is Kentucky straight bourbon. Adding the Kentucky straight is kind of funny because it's bourbon.
Oh, sorry. I'll be quiet.
It's bourbon. Bourbon is bourbon. You don't have to say Kentucky straight. If it's not made in Kentucky, it's not bourbon.
All bourbon is Kentucky made?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's why it's bourbon. Yeah.
Huh.
You can make like corn whiskey because bourbon is corn based.
Okay.
But
Does that have gluten in it?
gluten.
I'm gluten insensitive. I don't know.
Insensitive.
I'm intolerable.
I'm
intolerant.
intergalactic.
Look at these glasses too.
Yeah, quite nice.
I love that smell.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah. Reminds me of a gasoline.
Let's have a nice little cheers.
Chris.
Man, I love that. What do you think?
Very nice.
It's warming.
It is.
I find
is.
it like
Yeah, I'm gonna put this on the ground actually.
it's probably one of my favorite bourbons. It's a little pricey. I got it on sale. And that is like my first ever. I would say I'm kind of biased when it comes to like what my favorite bourbon is, but back in, I can't even remember when it was, 2019. It had to have been before COVID.
Smells good. Wait, let me smell yours.
Sure. Yeah, it had to have been before COVID, but for Christmas, my mom got me a, so this is the bottle, right? Like the full bottle.
Yeah.
But it comes with like little like 2-ounce versions with the same bottle design and everything. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Just mini me's.
Yeah. And so she got me one of those for Christmas along with like a Mickey, I guess, Mickey-sized bottle of...
Explain to Mickey.
Okay, so you have a 2.6, which is like a full 750 mils, which is that size. And then you have a Mickey, which, for all intents and purposes, I believe is half that.
Yeah.
375.
I believe so.
And yeah, so she got me a little like half 2.6 of Maker's Mark bourbon. So it's like you go to any bar and like they all have Maker's Mark, they all have Bullet bourbon in Calgary. That's just what you have. And dude, I drank that entire bottle in like, I don't even know. Like I don't drink a lot, but it disappeared pretty quick.
Yeah, it's giving alcoholism.
And all of a sudden I realized that I enjoyed bourbon a lot more than beer, which I had been on a beer hype for a while. I really like my Guinness.
Guinness.
Yeah, but
Guinness guy.
But yeah, then that little 2.6, or not 2.6, the little like 2-ounce bottle that of this was like, wait a second, and that started the whole thing. I was like, I have to get a bottle of that, and then I got a bottle of it, and the rest is history.
Right on. Right on. All right, I say we get these things going.
Me too.
Yeah, so I've never had a cigar before, so this is going to be an interesting
It's gonna be an experience.
Definitely a sensation. This one, let me try and describe the smell. It smells very...
Just want to make sure it's not too windy.
It smells like oaky sap.
And there it goes.
Yeah, this wind is going to be a problem. You pass the lighter here. Watch this. Watch this.
You do your thing.
Oh my god, this yeah, the wind. It's
I just don't want to use butane, but
I don't think you have a choice, brother.
Yeah, it's too windy for this.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna have to butane this bitch, which apparently to all the cigar veterans out there, is not a good thing to be doing because it can taint the.
It taints that like virgin pull of the cigarette.
Yeah.
The cigar.
The cigar.
Cigarette.
But cigars are also something that take a minute to get ready.
Going, yeah.
As far as I know. Actually, you know what we should do? We should probably go into your car, light these things, and come back.
Nah, it'll be okay.
You think you can make it work?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I wish I had my my actual cigar lighter.
Or we could do it in the bathrooms real quick. Let's go do that, brother.
We're doing it in the bathroom.
I'm doing it in the bathroom. All right, when I come back and mine's fucking got a nice cherry on it.
I'm actually coming to join you.
Well, we're back.
We are back.
Keep it a buck. The roll on the lips,
Yeah.
very nice. The flavor overall, dog shit. Dog shit, brother.
Really?
You want to try?
Yeah, I absolutely do.
Mine's still uneven, but that's okay.
I'm a bit of a wet mouther, but try this guy.
Oh, I'm a wet mouther too.
Oh. Yours is good. Wow.
It's got a good taste on the lips, you know what I mean?
Wow. That is that is fucking tasty. Okay, you lucked out there, buddy. Damn.
I'm gonna fucking fix this shit.
That's good. Oh. Dude, that is fire. Maybe I shouldn't say fire. Rest in peace to the houses out in Jasper. Kind of ironic, hey? We use fire to exclamate something good. But yeah, seriously, that is tasty.
I'm gonna keep it a buck. Cigars are not my fucking thing. No, this is not.
Not pleasant at all.
It's okay. See, here's the thing. With this, it's got a very sweet on the lip taste around the wrapping here, around the mouth.
So here, let me help you out here. Okay, what you're gonna do? Take a little bit of bourbon. Something like that is gonna go well with bourbon. That's why I wanted to get you a sweet.
Yeah, but also this chop was a little big because it's like undoing.
That's okay.
I'm getting a little bit of particles in there, but
Yeah, it should be fine. Just like just do a little one of these. You put teeth around. Not super. Like don't bite into it, but
hold it.
okay. So what you're gonna do?
Sure.
You're gonna take your bourbon. Oh, where'd the matches go? Here, you have them.
In my pocket.
You're gonna swirl it around a little bit.
Okay.
You're gonna take a little. Blow it into the bourbon. Swirl it around a little bit. Take a little sip. Don't swallow.
Oh.
Now that your mouth is nicely coated with that bourbon. Oh. One of the most pleasant flavors.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I love
This
that.
shit is ass. There's fucking gunk in my bourbon, bro. I don't know what happened with the wind. It's been picking up a little bit of schmutz.
Really?
A little bit of schmutz in there.
There's hairs in there.
Bro, this is dog shit. The fuck are you talking about, man?
Oh no. That's awesome.
Yeah, fuck no. Bro, it's not pleasurable. Maybe it's because you've been on the cigarette game for a minute.
It's completely unrelated in my opinion.
Genuinely? Nah, the smoke, it feels like I'm inhaling cancer.
Don't inhale it.
No, I'm not, but like in my mouth, it's just like, feels like I've been standing over a fucking campfire going, like.
Also, what's wrong with your drink? Let me see this.
There's just a bit of schmutz in there.
Little bit of Oh.
Yeah. Where are we gonna roll these out, by the way? I'm getting a bit of ash on mine.
Oh, I literally just like right in front of me. I just went.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll stay on there for a bit.
Still got a ways to go.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome.
That very interesting turn to the intro.
Yeah, my review of cigars. Not doing this shit again, brother.
That's
not
awesome.
doing this shit again. Yeah, the guy was like, "Oh, dude, you're gonna get hooked on this." Like when we went to pick these up, he's like, "Oh, you're gonna love this one." He's like, "I'm gonna apologize now because you'll love this one so much you won't want to get anything else.
You won't want a different cigar." And you know what? I agree with that, man. This shit's fucking delicious.
What do you mean?
It's sweet.
Okay.
It's caramely.
The wrapping is sweet. The inhalation, I'm just the smoke ain't for me, brother.
Yeah, but the smoke is like charred oak. It's like, oh, butterfly.
Want some? Want a hit? No, this is fucked.
Well, you know what? You enjoyed it.
But I tried it. That's what it's all about. New experiences. Bourbon, I'm gonna keep it a buck. It's nice. It's smooth to taste.
I don't like that you have a little bit of extra seasoning in there from the grass that just.
Yeah, I really don't like that.
You may have to dump and repour.
I will. I'm sorry, bourbon. I apologize.
Is A-okay?
Delicious. Although it is, as with most hard liquor,
An acquired taste.
An acquired taste. It requires a bit of maturity, I'd say. Just a little bit. Let's do like a 1/4 inch there. Beautiful.
Yeah, no room for gunk in that.
No room for gunk in that. This one I'm keeping close to the chest here.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, here's the thing. I don't know if I ever want to get accustomed to this taste. Do you know what I mean?
I never had to. I just liked it instantly.
Yeah, but you're also someone who likes bitters and coffee black as night.
I mean, listen, I enjoy the flavor of bitter things, and it's actually there's a science behind that, you know. The
Is it tied to your foot fetish? I'm capping. I don't know. I'm just talking mad shit right now.
What?
I don't know.
Yo, look at that ant. That shit's like big.
Oh my god.
Don't do that. Now more of them's gonna come because it's gonna release its fucking pheromones because it died.
Oh.
You
It's called
dumbass.
necrophilia, brother.
Necrophilia.
I don't know.
Yeah, but no, there is actually there is actually a science behind what kind of flavors that you like. If you like sweet things, like you crave sweet things all the time, it means that you have a overgrowth of bacteria in your digestive system that is causing a lot of gas, essentially. And you may not be, like shitting your pants every 5 seconds, but internally you're gonna have a lot of gaseous bubbles that you may not even feel, but that bacteria is going to impede on your ability to actually digest certain foods, and it craves sweet things because it actually causes your body to I think it like reduces your body's blood sugar levels or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Could be spewing bullshit with that part, but
I feel like there's a part of that where I have to do my own research on that, but
I would.
But I wouldn't. I'd believe it.
But see,
you know?
if you crave bitter things, it actually means that it's all to do with the balances of your stomach acid.
And so, yeah, what's a biased bitter palate mean? Would you say
biased bitter palate?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to
the
throw in
BBP.
words. I love BBC. I mean the BBP. Yeah. So let's say so yeah. What's the opposite to that?
Well, the opposite to that would be that you actually have not enough bacteria in your gut to actually aid with digestion, and usually you'll find yourself getting like indigestion due to lack of stomach acid, which is funny though, because bitter as a flavor is the opposite of sour, right? Sour,
Is it?
It is. Sour is the flavor you get when you ingest something acidic. So take like acetic acid.
Like the pH levels.
Ascorbic acid, I think, is in limes.
Citric?
But yeah, citric acid.
acid.
Acetic acid. Acetic acid.
Acetic acid.
Uh,
I love the smell of this though.
Anyways, so yeah, if you ever like eat a lemon and it's like really sour, that's because it has citric acid in it.
Yep.
Now, if you eat something and it's fairly bitter, that means the pH level is relatively high and it's more alkaline or basic. And typically, if you take like bitters, like I do, to like aid in digestion, it balances the acidity levels in your stomach to actually aid in digestion, because the more alkaline your stomach is, the more your body is going to start producing those vitamins, and not vitamins, but enzymes to help digest your food. It like activates the enzymes and acidity in your stomach. So
Well, there you have it.
I like bitter. I don't know, like something about it is just absolutely fantiddlyastic. Like this, I wouldn't even say this is bitter. It's like, what would be the flavor of this? It's like if you
Smoky, for
took
sure.
like a nice like sappy piece of wood and just chewed on it.
Hold on a minute. Honestly, yeah, I
Yeah.
can see that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I tried it. I want to try it. I wanted to try it. I tried it, and here we are. But I don't know. I don't think this is my taste. I'm still gonna enjoy the process, soak it all in. But
It's funny when you do get to the end, even if you're not inhaling it, you'll start to feel a little bit lightheaded because the nicotine gets to you. The tobacco starts like coursing through your blood, and you're like, oh, I need more. I mean, and then you're like, I can't do any more.
I'm not feeling that way at fucking all. At all. This shit is dog shit. I genuinely don't know why people enjoy this. I understand there's a whole cool factor, and that the lips are a very sensitive part of the body, and there's a lot of nerve endings in it. It's very sensational. And so it's nice to inhale and have something rolling on your lips, but this is dog shit, bro. This is actual dog water. I'm gonna keep it a buck. The bourbon I can settle on.
Good.
I can settle on.
Got some Nestea here for you.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I necessarily have a mature palate, but this ain't
Who
it.
says you need a mature palate? It's all about what you like, what you don't like.
Exactly. And little fun fact out there for all the cigar enjoyers: stop
Y'all
smoking.
are immature. No.
No, stop smoking a cigar when you don't enjoy it. I hate this, but I'm gonna keep doing it.
You're going against your own advice.
Yeah, I love the smell of this though. I can't. Oh, it's like genuinely like honey. It's so good.
It is.
Yeah. But yeah, so there was something that we put a pin in. We were driving out here. It's like a 50-minute drive.
Yeah.
Because
Anime
the directions.
titties.
Anime titties? Anime titties aren't like any other titties. I swear to God, they're built different. They're drawn different, actually.
They're anti-gravity. Anyways, you were saying?
Yeah, there's a conversation, and it was a good conversation. He was going somewhere, but then they're like, we'll put a pin in it, we'll come back to it. Do you remember what it was about? Because I genuinely don't.
Nope.
So we didn't put a pin in it. We just fucking lost it, apparently.
It was something to do with relationships, and
Something.
But I can't remember what it was because I was reflecting back to my relationship with a girl that I dated in my my undergrad years when I lived out in Ottawa, and I can't remember the exact point that I was trying to make when I brought it up, but basically what was going on is I went on a trip. It was like a study abroad trip, and it was all part of my degree. It was within the actual school year in I think around like the February time. So I studied architecture in my undergrad at Carleton University, and in my third year, second semester, we had what's called DSA, or Design Study Abroad. And
What?
Nothing. And yeah, and a lot of people went to but I can't actually remember where the other trips were to. I think one of them was to like Spain and Portugal.
Okay.
But the one that I really wanted to do was Japan, because like, whoa. So I went to Japan, and it was like
Well,
12 days.
Being an architecture student in Japan, it's just got to be like
Oh, it was really cool.
such a sensation.
It really was. And like just being there and not really having to worry about where I was going because we had a place to stay, we had an itinerary, and we were always kind of like instructed on like where we were supposed to be. I didn't have to worry about anything, just going from A to B, getting food, and kind of like enjoying my time there. And yeah, I guess kind of lost touch with the girl that I was dating back in Canada. Like, not really. I just thought that, you know, I would go on my trip and then I would come back and it would be fine.
Warm welcome.
Well, you know, as they say overseas. No, I'm joking. Yeah, I don't.
As who says? What are you talking about?
As you know, as they say when you're overseas.
As they say, guys, when you're overseas.
No, no. Honestly, I don't know what happened. I remember I was taking like the bullet train. I had this portable Wi-Fi thing with me, and I would FaceTime her and sort of tell her what I was up to. Got back to Canada. Didn't even go back to my room. I stayed at her dorm because she was living on campus at the university.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 days later, she's like, "Hey, we need to talk." And I'm like, "Okay, sure." Go into her room, and she's like, "Yeah, I don't think we should see each other anymore." And I'm like, "What did you do while I was gone?"
It raises a brow.
Honestly,
you know
like, if I'm being frank and genuine,
mm-hmm.
it was the right decision.
If I'm being frank and genuine, I'm done with this fucking cigar, brother.
Oh yeah, you can totally put it out.
Yeah,
That's fine.
This shit is ass. The nicotine. What's the nicotine supposed to make you feel?
Take a little
Inhale.
just a wee tiny little.
Fuck no.
Okay. Then.
I like my lungs pink. All right, not black like your coffee.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'll show you how to put that out if you want. Basically, just like take it out like this.
I was just gonna do a rub, right? Like,
And you do a little bit of this.
I've heard you just let it rest, by the way.
Yep.
So actually, what I'm gonna do that.
But usually, I like to do a little bit of that, and then you just kind of sit it down. Beauty. Okay, so, he needs the nesty.
Yeah, let me get a fucking. Wash that garbage out of my mouth.
What was I saying? Where's the story getting to? Oh yeah. So
Yes.
it ended up being like definitely the right decision, and so I am eternally grateful for.
Pinkies up.
Mm-hmm.
Pinkies up.
Eternally grateful for that, but yeah, it was just like it just caught me off guard. I wasn't really expecting it, and the point that I was trying to make in the car ride out here is that when I first received the news, I was like, I don't understand what to do with my life. Like,
Lost.
when
Big piece of it is just walked away.
yeah, and it wasn't necessarily that I is that a wasp? I'ma kill you.
About to be murder in the air, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, like when I find myself in a relationship and I go 100% in.
I want some bourbon, brother.
Yo, this wasp is sketching me out, man.
No,
I don't
it's
like
chilling.
you.
It's chilling. It's chilling. Don't fuck with it. It won't fuck with you.
And I find myself when I get so invested into a person, I don't just have my life and then have a relationship. I find that the relationship completely entangles itself within everything that I do. And it's something that I've realized, and is actually why I'm in the spot currently that I'm in, is I tend to lose sight of who I am and what I do. And I end up going so far into a relationship with a person that I lose sight of who I am as a person and what it means to me to keep going and keep being alive. Like if I'm gonna be in a relationship and do everything that I want to do, but it's completely for the other person. I mean, I get that being selfless is a really good thing to do, but you end up kind of losing sense of what makes you tick and why you're doing it in the first place. If you're doing it out of love, it's great, but you need to step back and remember that you're still there too, and as much as you can give and also take, you have to give to yourself. And that's kind of what happened with that relationship. I didn't know what to do because everything I did was for her. I woke up early because she wanted to go to the gym early. I planned my whole schedule throughout all my days based on her classes and how she wanted to live her day. And I did that so that we could see each other and so that she was happy and so that it worked, you know? And I didn't realize how much I was actually losing out on my own internal happiness. And I forgot what it meant to be happy for me. So afterwards, I spent like a good 10 days and I couldn't go home. Her hairs were still in my bed. Like I couldn't go into my room and actually be in there without seeing remnants of her everywhere. And so I went to my buddy's house in like downtown Ottawa. He lived on the 14th floor. We'd just go there, smoke some weed, sit out on his balcony, look at like downtown Ottawa, watch the sunset. And I swear I lived there for like 10 days and I don't remember showering or like changing my clothes.
Yeah, okay, I remember. Yeah,
or like doing anything. And like if I like reeked, if I stunk, I hope somebody would have told me, but I don't remember at all. It's so foggy.
Mm-hmm.
And the main thing is that I lost track of all things because nothing was familiar anymore. I could go to the gym, but it wasn't familiar because the presence of that girl that I was with wasn't there, and that's what made it that full experience to sort of like round it off for something that I enjoyed to do. And so everything that I did, whether it was going to have lunch or going for a walk outside or walking to my classes, everything I did it with her, and to all of a sudden do it by myself, it felt unfamiliar. And that was a territory that was really uncomfortable and didn't feel very safe. And so for those 10 days, I just kind of shut down into my world, and that's kind of something that I'm trying to avoid at the moment.
So I think this is actually a very interesting theme in life, which is, as humans, we have this tendency to associate our identity with our occupations, with our friends, with our family, with our activities, hobbies, etc., right?
Well, yeah, isn't it interesting? You meet someone new and you're like, hey, hi, how are you? What do you do?
Right, yeah, what do you do?
You associate what people do with who they are.
But then on top of that, right, like being in a relationship where you kind of strongly associate your identity with that relationship, losing that relationship loses a part of your identity.
Absolutely.
And like you said, unfamiliar, lost. And it's no different than if you have an occupation, right? Like if you were born and raised mechanic, and then
or a farmer,
yeah, whatever it may be, and then you get fired or whatever it may be, whatever happens in life that occupation is no longer what you do. It's like you naturally have that question of what am I, right? Like how do I fill my time? Where what do I fall back on to define myself, right? And I think it's especially tricky with relationships because relationships are one of those things where you get so invested into it and you are so familiar about a complete other entity in this world, right? And when you spend so much time together, etc., it's like naturally you start to associate yourself with that image, and that image associates itself in return with you, right?
Or even that feeling of the presence of them being with you. Once their presence is gone, the feeling of that presence in your life leaves as well, and now everything that you do feels different.
And there's actually something I want to touch on, because this is when I dislocated my shoulder. I know I said I figured out who I was in that moment, but it's in that moment where that entire paradigm shifted. It was no longer my identity was sort of this shell, and painted on this shell were things like, what people think of me, right? What my relationships say about me, my occupation, my habits, my hobbies, all of those things, right? Okay. But instead, that shell broke away, and it didn't matter what piece was on that shell. I knew what the inside held. And so it didn't matter what the outside was. It didn't matter if I lost all my friends, all my family. It didn't matter if I didn't have any of my habits or hobbies. It didn't matter if I was, homeless on the street with no occupations, nothing to my name, right? I knew exactly who I was. And so the question I was going to ask to you is, what do you think the remedy is to something like that? Because I think I have my answer, but I want to hear your take first before I go in depth and kind of try and break down what happened to me and how I figured out, okay, it doesn't matter what all this extra stuff is. The definition for who I am just became so much more solid and completely independent on anything else.
Well, that's the thing. Like, after we had broken up, I was almost forced to face that problem. To be like, now I have to sit down and actually like redefine who I am. And I was faced with having to do that because otherwise I would have just been identityless.
But what did you fill that empty bucket with?
Exactly.
And was there anything that you do you know the answer to that?
I think I just went out. Damn wind. I'm gonna pause on that. It's a little windy, a little brisk, A little brisk in the wind. A little breeze coming out from the west.
God, the autism's kicked in. No, like genuinely, do you know what you filled that empty bucket with?
Yeah, I do.
You got me in suspense, brother.
So I kind of have lived through a little bit of trial and error. I know what not to do. And now hopefully, as I keep going on in life, I can learn from what not to do and do what should I do.
Okay, so what's your take on that?
So basically, what did I do? We got some people coming to visit us. Hello. And I filled that void with video games and drinking. And let me tell you, it was
beautiful combination.
Fucking awesome.
Remedy to the soul. Medication.
It was great for a little while. That little while lasted, like I said, a little while. And from then on, I just kind of didn't know what to do. So I started working out a lot more, and then I immediately did the first thing I could think of, which was set up shop with someone else to fill that gap. And I didn't give myself the opportunity to fill that gap with my own sort of essence of self-identity. And I got right back on, online dating sites. I immediately started seeing like this other girl, like a few days later. And that was that. Then, COVID kicked in because it was right around that time. I came back from Japan around the, like 2/3 of the way through February. And then COVID kind of kicked in like late March. I think I flew home from Ottawa back to Calgary. And in that time, I was seeing this girl, Emily, and she was really sweet. She was great, good energy. Showed me all of her friends on the Quebec side of the river.
Hate the French people, by the way. Fuck the French people.
They were the Getters. They were a fun group of people. Loved them to bits. But then obviously I went home, and she was kind of turned into like a long distance thing. And I was like, oh, when I come back to Ottawa, we'll like actually like officially start dating. And well, that never happened because online school, 4th year, and that gap remained, and it kind of stayed that way for a while until I met Maria. And interestingly enough, rather than filling the gap that I sort of had with another person, she taught me how to fill that gap with things that made me feel good about myself. So going out for walks, spending time in nature, like taking care of myself, learning new things, having a hobby, and doing things that actually encourage learning and encourage growth. And that was one of the most valuable lessons that she ever taught me.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, to this day, I still struggle with those things, but I'll always be I would say more emotionally and spiritually mature because of that knowledge.
Okay, so let's say, but even though there was a lot of growth, obviously, in those experiences, because naturally, over time, you have no choice but to mature, right?
Yeah.
If you were to strip away all of that,
Yep.
what's left? If you were to strip away all the hobbies, if you were to strip away the walks in nature.
Well, it's a good saying that Maria actually had, is that if everything was taken away from her, her parents, me, the world, her hobbies, her items, like everything was taken away from her, she would still be at peace because she had a foundation of belief. And I wouldn't necessarily say religion, because she didn't necessarily prescribe to any set religious doctrine. Yeah. But in her own way, she believed very heavily in the ways of Jesus and the ways of God. And that, for her, was, if everything was taken away, she had this sort of belief in a presence that would always be with her, that allowed her to feel safe and okay no matter what.
And is that what you feel as well?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, so what about in your case?
Well, in my case, I've got myself, because I don't really know how to believe in those things. I've tried, and I find them very uncomfortable for me. And it's not to say that I have anything against those kinds of beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a really touchy subject for me, because I find myself getting very defensive and frustrated when it gets brought up, and it's something that I've tried to work out within myself. Like, why am I so unsure? Why am I so why do I struggle with this topic so much? And
I want to put a pin in this topic.
Yeah.
But I do want to get back to the point of, like, okay, so I'm trying to really paint a picture here where it's like, yet again, like, your identity is surrounded by all of these definitions of what it is that composes you.
Yeah.
Right? And when you strip all that away, you said what's left is you. But what does that mean?
What does that mean? It's you. It's how
if you could put your best attempt to describe it.
So, like, I would say it's not what you've done. It's not what you've said. It's not what you have been. It like, if you take all that away, you take all preconceived knowledge of what you are and what you have been, and you have nothing left. Who are you? And I would say that is a series of reactions to any given moment. It's how you react to the present. And I would say that is your, like, true spirit kind of giving you a reason to sort of act. And
the spirit within the reactions, or the spirit within,
absolutely,
amongst the actions.
Yeah, like you can have a person that has done great things, but you take all that away, and in any given moment they're a terrible person.
So because I want to circle back to my definition, and there's a prelude to it, but at the moment leading up to when I dislocated my shoulder, it was in a state where I was still conquering some of my social anxieties.
Oh, I remember that.
Right? Yeah.
I remember that.
And so I could strike up a conversation. I go climbing, and me and Colton have been climbing a bunch of times. And I can strike up conversations with people that are nearby, like climbing on the same thing. It's not hard to do that, right? You have a clear opener. But when it would come to people that I'm attracted to, it was a whole different ballgame, right? Because then the thoughts are getting into your head of, okay, you don't want to get rejected, right? That kind of fear. But there's also fear about, like, how you're coming off, appearance, etc., and all that. And so I just decided one time, fuck it, right? And so I went up to this girl that I was attracted to, and I got her number, and then I got ghosted, blah, blah, blah. And so then I was happy with myself because I conquered that fear, right? And I was like, yes, finally I actually did something. And I can remove the label on my identity that I'm afraid of something like that. And so then what happened is I was kind of bummed out, you know, because I wasn't getting any response. And so I was like, you know what? To take my mind off things, something that I really enjoy doing is just going out on an adventure. And what that means is basically just going out in a fucking direction and just seeing where you end up and just kind of like playing it by ear. And so I took my sister along with me because she definitely needed something like that in her life. And when we went out there, she passed out while we were going into an art gallery, which is a funny little story.
She passed out?
Yeah.
Like dropped?
Yeah, she dropped down. I was talking to this the woman who worked there, and I was like this, you know, photo is just so magnificent for so many reasons. And she was talking about the photographer and what went into taking the shot, and my sister's standing beside me, and I just hear like a collapse onto the ground, and I look down. And I'm like, and then I look at her,
powerful.
Dude, dead ass. The first thing that came out of my mouth, I was like, wow, it's just, these pictures must have really moved her. They're overwhelming, right? Then I check on her. Obviously, she's fine. We went and got some.
Did the lady working there laugh at that?
She was probably like, what the fuck's going on, to find it funny. But there was a grin from someone like standing behind us, some other people, some other gallery viewers, if you will. But anyway, needless to say, that adventure ended up with me standing at the top of stairs covered in ice, having to do to the bottom of the stairs, being like, yeah, like slide down the stairs, and me going, I don't know if I should, and then him saying, just send it, and then me saying, fuck it, to which case I slid down the stairs, put my arm back, fell on it, and it popped out, right? Now I don't know if you guys have dislocated your shoulder, but that shit hurts like a bitch. The first time especially. And so
the first time especially.
Well, because after it's been dislocated once, it's not as bad.
And also,
but it's still terrible.
When it's dislocated, if you don't pop it back in, you can get some severe nerve damage while it's dislocated.
Yeah, but you don't want to pop it in the first time. Like after those muscles have been stretched out, etc. Like you want it done by.
Oh, you want it done by a doctor, yeah. But like the longer you wait,
But the second time, then you kind of know the routine. It's okay. Like your
you
body.
did it twice?
No, I didn't do it twice. I'm just saying like these are the things I learned.
So this is
going
what
forward.
happens when I dislocate it again.
Again, yeah. Anyway, so I dislocated that. I am an hour and a half into a hike at this point, right? Like I'm in the middle of fuck off nowhere.
When you dislocated it?
Yeah.
When was this?
This was in February.
Of this year?
Or January actually.
Where?
At Johnson Creek, Justin Canyon.
Who are you with?
My sister. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm out there.
What?
And I'm in the most fucking pain I've ever been in.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, this is how I handle the situation. The first thing is, I get up. I'm like, I'm in pain, right? I don't know if it's just my ass or I had to do an internal assessment of the damage. I realize my shoulder fucking hurts like a bitch.
Yep.
And so then I stand up, I'm sweaty a lot, right? Because like, you know, adrenaline's kicking in, like, you know, the shock of it all. Yep. I take off my jacket and my shoulder is just like out here. And I go, oh, okay, so that's dislocated, right? Like I know what that looks like. Oh. And so I go, is there anything else? Anything broken, anything fractured? I'm like, it's just the arm. Yeah. We're good, right? And so then I go, okay, I'm feeling lightheaded for a little bit. I'm just going to sit here. And people are like, what do I need? Like people are like trying to talk to me. And I just go like, I need 5 minutes. I'm lightheaded. I just need to sit down for a minute, right? Sit down for a minute. I'm like, okay, I'm getting cold. Let me put the jacket back on. Now I just need to figure out if I can actually move.
Yeah.
So I stand up. If my arm's straight down by my side, I can't stand up. Like it's fucking excruciating. So I figure out where is like the body position.
To be able to move.
To be okay. So I realize that it's like this. Right? Like I'm leaning forward, my arm's just drooping down in front of me.
Just like walking.
And I'm like, I could walk like this, but my lower back is going to be dead. Because I'm going to be walking like a grandma, right? And so then I'm like, what if this position feels nice, right? Because it relieves the tension on my shoulders that's been popped out. So I had my sister hold at that angle back like this, right? Now the thing is when you're on a trail and someone's holding your hand, it bumps a lot.
Oh my God.
And it's only semi-comfortable at one angle. And by semi-comfortable, I mean it's like a 3 out of 10 on the pain. But if it's just dangling down like this,
it's like 10 out of 10.
It's like a 9 or a 10. Yeah, like genuinely excruciating. Like it's one of those ones where like your knees buckle. So anyway, for the next hour and a half, she holds like this. And I had to take stops sometimes because sometimes there'll be a big fucking bump and it just gets thrown up. And I'm like, okay, I need to like fucking just lean over. But during that hour and a half, minute by minute, step by step, I just kept going, I just got to take one more. 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 And then it ended up being an hour and a half. And then it was like a 20-minute drive to the hospital. And then we get to the hospital.
And it's like hours.
I'm like, I've been used to this pain. I kind of got the rhythm of it now. So I'm just like leaning my head on the fucking reception desk, letting my arm hang down. The girl kind of looks at me and then helps someone else. And then my sister's like, yeah, like my brother dislocated his shoulder. Like, should we go to emergency? And she's like, fucking yeah, you idiot. Like, get the fuck over there. Yeah. Get it popped back in. And so during that entire time, like where you have an hour and a half and the only thing on your mind is like, okay, like grit your teeth and get through it. You start to realize, wait a minute, like it doesn't kind of matter what life throws at me. It's like I got it. And so in that moment, it didn't matter that I was like a programmer. It didn't matter that I was like top of my class. It didn't matter that I was this, and this, or all these labels that I take pride in. Yeah. Right? It was genuinely just life threw a situation at me. None of those things that I identified with would have ever helped me out with that.
Yep.
It's like they did nothing.
You're going to program your way out of the mountain.
Yeah, exactly. Right? I'm not going to write some kind of algorithm to get me out of this one. And it was just as pure as nature and me, and that was all that was in my head in that moment. And so it stripped away all of those kind of labels, and I realized, wait, like at the end of the day, all it is that I have confidence in myself. And like you said, right, it's like it's that spirit within those reactions. It's that whatever actions or reactions I take to life, I have confidence that no matter what it is, I'll be okay, and I've got it. And so then all of those labels kind of stripped away, and I genuinely remember on the ride home, after having like my arm kind of like tied and everything, like popped back in, but I still needed rest and stuff like that, I started laughing. And instead of being disappointed because I got ghosted by someone, I was happy because I go, first off, they don't know what the fuck they missed out on, right? And then second off,
I remember that attitude switch.
And then second off, I go like, holy shit, like I'm fucking awesome, right? Not because of like any accomplishments or anything like that, but it was just the fact that I lived, right, like at that time, 22 years not having discovered that part of me. And so then after having discovered that part of me, I'm like, I feel on top of the fucking world, right? It's like I can walk around with my head held high because I know that a lot of other people haven't found that yet, right? And so then that same thing happened when I almost died in a car crash. Because when I was in that car crash, I treated it the exact same way. I go, what hurts? Okay. It doesn't feel like anything's broken, even though something was, right? My right foot hurts like a bitch, but I can still move, right? There's no reason for me to panic because I can move, right? And so then I climbed out of the car, walked on a broken foot to the highway, waved someone down, and I was all good. But genuinely, it was that same thing of, okay, life threw something at me, and I wasn't in that car like crying or whimpering or scared. It was just like, this is the situation I got to deal with. The only thing I can rely on is myself, and I stepped up in that moment. And so it's that spirit around how do you react to life and what do you react with to life, that all of those labels don't matter, right? Those are kind of like this artificial like shell that people get entranced by. Yeah. Or addicted to, and they go, oh, well, if I just had this one more label, if I just had this specific title or this specific occupation or this specific achievement, then I would finally feel complete. But at the end of the day, it's like, no.
At the end of the day, when you set up your Tinder account, it's just one more little bubble that you hit.
Yeah, it's like those are just gloves that you're wearing.
What does that mean?
That's not you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just a facade.
Yeah, and so I genuinely think the only way to discover that is to just go out into the world and experience more of those moments where all that's left. And I'm not saying crash into a pole, and I'm not saying dislocate your shoulder. But what I am saying is
I'm not saying like escape death by millimeters.
Yeah, I'm saying like let yourself be open to the assumption that you haven't got it all figured out, and that there's more depth to you than you think you realized. And the second you remove that arrogance of, okay, there's probably more to me, that's when your mind will allow you to kind of see those moments in which those parts of you reveal themselves. And the more you pay attention to that, like the more I think complete you become as a person. Interesting. And I think that's exactly what you need in this specific moment, because we've talked previously about some of the complications with identities being associated with relationships and figuring out exactly what's the definition of who I am and what does that actually mean and entail. And so I think setting some time aside to figure that out for yourself and feeding what your soul needs as opposed to, what your body needs is a really good thing.
Interesting.
Because the only reason I would go out on adventures like that is because like I have a hunger for it. I'm like, I don't want to do this, but my soul wants it. You know what I mean? It's like I would rather just sit at home and, you know, watch Too Hot to Handle with my mom. but 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 it's like I need that.
Yep.
You know? It's
And you know the one thing that my soul has been craving is so as per my current education status in my master's degree, we have also a sort of like design study abroad thing. And it's a whole term though in the spring. So it's a mandatory spring term, so this would happen next summer, or I guess spring in May and June. And I have always been like heart set on Tokyo. I'm going to Tokyo.
Tokyo.
You know, like I've been there before. Like there's nothing more incredible than walking through Tokyo in the middle of the night, being scared that you're going to get like kidnapped by the Yakuza gang because you see them like with their light up wild motorcycles screaming down the middle of the road.
What a dream.
There were like probably 150 of them. It was wild. And it was the middle of the night because I had missed all the trains. I obviously had no service. I didn't know how to call a taxi. And I was a 4-hour walk from our hotel, so I walked back.
Mm-hmm.
And that was that. And there's nothing that I've done yet that really beats the feeling of being in that place. However, I recently discovered that I might switch my decision and go with Barcelona. It's cheaper, which would be nice.
It's always helpful.
But there's something in my body that just yearns for the experience of European life.
It's a completely different. There's something in the air, man.
I've been
There's
told
something in the air
by many people that that I am very European in my ways, and I feel like I just need to live in that air, in that in a place that has life and culture, like pulsing through the arteries of the cities.
Yeah, you don't realize it, like, but in Western society, like one thing that I've noticed specifically when I went over to Germany was that, yeah, it's like, it's this invisible, I don't know, it's very hard to describe, but you kind of almost get so accustomed to that, to what the sort of, I would guess, North American culture is better. And you just make all these assumptions about like how it is that people view relationships and life and friendships and etc. And when you go over to Europe, it's completely different. Yeah, like all those assumptions are shifted slightly. There's a different flavor to it. And so then you realize, oh my God, like wait, the approach to, you know, life, work-life balance, relationships, friendships, etc. It's just so different in such a refreshing way, because it completely makes you question, how am I like approaching my life? And because there's such a strong confronting reflection on yourself, it's
exactly like that's what I want to do. I want to put myself into a place that culture shocks me in a way that I can relate to. Like if I go to Japan,
I think is worse than North America in terms of like the approach to like work and leisure.
Oh, it's completely different, but it's on the more aggressive side where people work way more.
Yeah.
And the work culture is insane. And I also I'm not Japanese at all.
Oh, dude, they're racist. Yeah, the Japanese are racist, dude.
And it's funny though, I have nothing against that. I actually appreciate that in great heaviness. Like it might seem weird, but I am very appreciative. I am very appreciative that the Japanese culture sort of rejects foreign immigration and just foreigners in general on like a regular like interaction level, because it holds Japanese culture and Japanese tradition alive in one of the most purest ways. And that's something that you don't see in North America. Like North American culture is fascinating because it doesn't exist. There's American no culture is it's
an amalgamation of everything else.
Yeah, it's a medley of pancakes and maple syrup and guns and eagles and tacos.
Tacos are good though.
But like And like, you know, like we've got like, I mean, North America was colonized. It was colonized. Like as soon as you look at it like that, it's like there is no North American bred person that is part of that colonized population.
But do you think going to another place that you can, I think you can always taste a culture, but I don't know if you can ever fully digest it.
Well, that's just the thing. I was born in North America. This is, in a sense, my culture. If I was born in Spain and I was bred a Spaniard, that would be my culture. But like,
No, but like what I'm saying is like, let's say, okay, you live the rest of your life in Barcelona. Do you think at a certain point that you feel as though you can 100% completely
I don't know.
adopt that culture?
I don't know. I have absolutely no idea.
Like
And
I genuinely think there's always something that will have been nurtured into you at a young age that will conflict.
Here's a great example. My boss at work, he's Czech. He's from Czechoslovakia.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was younger, he escaped here with his family, and he has four sons, one daughter, 3 in the first batch, 2 in the second with the second wife, and the
second batch, like it's like a bakery. That's
I
funny.
know, the youngest of that second batch, so the youngest kid overall. I was talking to him because he also works at the firm for the summer. Awesome kid. He's 21. He has a kid, and he's engaged to his fiance, and he's got like such an interesting perspective on life. And he was telling me that going back to the Czech or Czech Republic, the Czechoslovakia. I'm not actually sure what the country is right now, but he says he's never actually been back. But there's specifically one sound in their vocabulary that he cannot pronounce. And it's like I don't actually know how to pronounce it, so I'm going to butcher it, but it's like a zj.
Zj.
It's something.
Sure.
I can't remember if that's exactly what it is. But like in English, you have like the ch, the ch sound. You have sh, sh, th. You know, you have these
there's like different
that,
tongue placements that are just so unnatural.
Yeah, and like how you use your mouth and to create those sounds. And he's and he said that you can always spot a foreigner in I'm gonna say Czechoslovakia. I can't remember if that's actually, is it Czech Republic now? Do you know this?
No clue. I don't know.
I'm gonna just say Czech because Czech is the only sound
Czechoslovakia,
that is.
I think that's fair.
Czechoslovak. I don't know. But he was basically saying that you can always spot a foreigner because that is the one sound that no one can replicate unless they were born there, and it was like taught to them at a very, very young age. Like his dad, like Frank, can't even make that sound very well because he was born there, but he also moved away, and now he's lived in Canada for most of his life.
Yeah.
And that is like a telltale sign of like, yes, you can move to that country when you're like 10 years old and spend the rest of your life there, but you will never fully 100% be adopting that as your complete own because it's not where you were born. It's not where you were raised.
That's why my approach has always been I want to have a bunch of samples from a bunch of different cultures and celebrations. Even though I'm not a religiously Christian or Catholic individual, I'm still going to celebrate Christmas. I'm still going to celebrate Ramadan, which is interesting. I want, not only in my own life, but also my
Shout out to Ferris.
kids' lives. I want them to be able to experience these different things that normally they wouldn't get a chance to experience.
Yep.
And even if it's maybe not like completely authentic, at least it'll have the same essence, right? And it will be instilling the same values. Because I think there's no other way to put it, right? Like there's so many different beautiful things about different generations and cultures and the variations between them and among them across time and across the world and all of that. And so I think what better way to fully capture the grasp of life itself than to have a very exposing breadth of experiences that can to a certain degree or another translate at least a little bit of that into their lives. So yeah, I'm still right now. I'm on the search. I'm going to try and cultivate a nice long list of different celebrations, and then urbanify it a little bit.
Derek urbanify.
And yeah, and then start making that a regular thing. Plus, then it gives you something to look forward to. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like if the only thing you've got is Christmas, fucking 11 months of the year
like your
suck.
birthday, and then all of a sudden you're just like, fuck, I'm getting older. God damn it,
dude. It's like, what am I doing in August? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like what am I doing in August?
Exactly, right? Get yourself something.
Funny you say August. Maria's birthday.
It is Maria's birthday. Shout out to Maria. Great person. Great person.
Yeah.
But yeah, even those like birthdays, like your friends' birthdays, you got to make them special. It's, you know, give one thing that I realized not only through my perfectionism, but then also just through my upbringing is that I don't celebrate often. And so I've been making a greater effort to celebrate things worth celebrating.
Get drunk every weekend. I'm drunk, blackout, yeah.
I'm going to get so drunk at this camp.
You see,
that was crazy. But yeah, so.
Oh, you motherfucker.
Yeah, that's what my brain instantly went to. But yeah, you got to make it worthwhile, you know, like.
Yes, you do.
And celebrations don't come naturally. Like you have to put in energy, and that's a price, and that expends, and you've got to. I don't know. You got to pay that price more often than I think people do.
Yep. Absolutely.
So, speaking of which, we got to get out of here.
We do?
Yeah.
Is it about that time?
It's about that time. It's
All
about
right.
damn time. I think what would be something that you walked away from this conversation with?
Well, I'm gonna go bust a nut on the climbing wall on that new slab and dislocate my shoulders so I can discover myself, dude.
Okay. No, but like, what's Kate? Here's the thing. I think the philosophy behind a conversation is you have to be walking away, or you have to be walking into a conversation with the expectation that you'll be walking away with something that you
with
don't
something
know.
new.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so, what's something that you walked away with? And if you want, I could go first.
Oh, dude, easily is the fact that the space of pain where you have lost something very dear to your heart and a huge chunk of your life, which is sort of a metaphor for separating in a relationship, rather than allowing that to take over and allowing those negative thoughts to really define who you are, and that's that, and you become a bitter person, is to actually use that space and time to discover what is new about you that you didn't know, and discover how to be at peace with yourself when you do truly have nothing left. And I think that is something that I've always wanted to do, but I didn't really know how to go about it. And I think I've got some new tools, some new things to try. So, like I said, I'm gonna go climbing and dislocate my shoulder.
Didn't you say you were gonna bust a nut on the wall? Didn't you just admit that you were gonna do some public indecency? I mean, hey, brother, if that's how you're gonna find yourself, sure. But
listen, I find myself in post-nut clarity, and if that's on the climbing wall, listen,
surrounded by people, sure.
Hey,
different strokes for different folks.
I don't discriminate on where and when to have post-nut clarity. Like, that is a very powerful thing. So
I mean, there's times and places that are better than others for sure.
Oh,
okay.
God.
I think that's a good thing. Yeah, I'm going to be walking away with the idea to focus on what's the spirit in your reactions, the spirit in your actions, right? If you could somehow grab all of your reactions or actions and
unfiltered, like there is no
everything. Yeah.
It is purely the instinctual essence of who you are that is reacting to this given moment.
And it could be in those quiet moments where you're like before bed scrolling Instagram and you know you see something and you get jealous or you get upset or you get angry.
Or you're like, why the fuck am I still on Instagram? It's been 3
or
hours.
You're disgusted with yourself, whatever it is, right? Like all of those are reactions. And so it's like the feelings, I guess I'm going to throw that in there. The feelings, actions, and reactions. If you could grab all of those, what's the spirit across them?
Yes.
Right? and trying to define that and focusing on that. And I think when you focus a little bit, or you kind of keep it in mind going through life, and you go, how do I want to react into this, or how do I want to react to this or act in this specific moment that pays tribute to the spirit that I want. And I think that's a really good idea.
That pays tribute to the spirit that I want. That's exactly what I was going to add to that, is that once you identify what the sort of spirit inside of you,
or even if you don't know, but you have an idea of what you would like it to be.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it too. And that you try to
like act in accordance? Or?
No, I would just say go about life with intention.
With intention. Intention's a powerful thing.
It is. It is. Like, hey, little buddy. Like, if you lane change while you're driving, unintentionally, listen, the consequences could be deadly. That's all I'm trying to say.
That's how you hit a post. Yeah.
Sir, that wasn't a lane change. That was a get out of the lane entirely.
I mean, I changed lanes, oh. And it wasn't intentional.
Yeah.
But I intentionally intend to end it here.
Good.
There you go.
So that was sponsored